Chosen one, stop scrolling and lock your attention here. This message did not find you by accident. Heaven interrupted your path because there is something inside you that has been waiting to be named. You have carried it since before birth, but for years you have mistaken its silence for absence. It was never gone. It was hidden. Listen closely. God planted a gift inside you before the world ever touched you, before rejection trained you to shrink, before disappointment taught you to hide, before people made you question your own mind. Something sacred was placed in the deepest chamber of your spirit. And now the reason you feel restless is because that gift is beginning to press against the walls of your old life. You have felt it. Do not pretend you have not. There were moments when you knew things without being told. You sensed energy before anyone spoke. You could feel when someone was lying. You could walk into a room and know the atmosphere had shifted before anyone else noticed. And even as a child, you carried a strange awareness that your life was supposed to mean something bigger. But then life got loud. The world got heavy. People started demanding pieces of you before you knew how to protect your own spirit. You learned to smile when you were tired. You learned to stay quiet when your soul was screaming. And somewhere between surviving people, surviving pressure, and surviving disappointment, the gift inside you became quiet. That silence confused you. It made you wonder if you imagined everything. You looked back at the child you used to be and wondered where that brightness went. You remembered how fast you used to learn, how deeply you used to feel, how easily you could create, dream, sense, and believe. Now some mornings feel like you are trying to think through fog. Some days, your own mind feels far away from you. Chosen one. That is not laziness. That is not failure. That is not God changing his mind about you. You are not broken because you cannot explain the weight you carry. You are not weak because normal routines exhaust you. There is a difference between being empty and being overloaded, and you have been overloaded by a life that never understood what you were carrying. You feel tired in a way sleep does not fix. Your body rests, but your spirit still feels active. You wake up after strange dreams and wonder why your heart feels like it traveled somewhere while your body stayed in bed. Sometimes you open your eyes between 3 and 4 in the morning with no clear reason, yet something inside you feels alert, like heaven was trying to speak while the world was quiet. You have also felt the loneliness, not ordinary loneliness, a deeper kind. You can sit around family and still feel unseen. You can laugh with people and still feel far away. You can answer messages, show up, help others, and still feel like nobody really knows the weight behind your eyes. And the strange part is this: you often feel most alone around people who should have recognized your heart first. That isolation was not random. It hurt, but it had a purpose. Some people could not stay close to you because they were comfortable with the version of you that stayed small. They liked your kindness, but they feared your clarity. They enjoyed your help, but they resisted your authority. And every time your gift tried to rise, something around you tried to make you apologize for it. You started hiding your discernment. You stopped saying what you sensed. You learned to call your sensitivity too much. You learned to call your intuition overthinking. You learned to call your spiritual pressure anxiety. But heaven is correcting that lie right now, because what the world mocked in you may be the very place God placed your assignment. There is a reason certain people drain you quickly. There is a reason crowded places make your spirit feel noisy. There is a reason fake words feel heavy in your body. You are not dramatic. You are not difficult. You are not too sensitive. Your spirit was designed to detect what others ignore, and that detection is part of the gift you have not fully activated yet. You have seen signs too. Repeating numbers, sudden confirmations, songs arriving at the exact moment, a phrase from a stranger that answered a prayer you never said out loud. You tried to brush it off, but something inside you knew. Heaven was not entertaining you. Heaven was reminding you that the hidden gift still had a signal. And still, you asked the question in secret: why has my life felt so delayed? Why do I sense something big, but nothing seems to open? Why do I carry dreams that feel too sacred to abandon, yet too heavy to explain? You did not ask those questions because you are confused. You ask them because your spirit remembers a version of you that your circumstances have not caught up with yet. That is why this message is finding you now. Not to flatter you, not to entertain you, not to give you another spiritual phrase to repeat and forget. This message is here to put language around the ache you have carried for years. You are not searching for attention. You are searching for activation. There is a gift inside you that has been buried under survival. It has been covered by disappointment, guarded by silence, and delayed by the fear of being seen too clearly. You have not been waiting because God forgot you. You have been waiting because something powerful had to be protected until your spirit was ready to carry it without handing it to the wrong people. Think about your childhood for a moment. You knew you were different before anyone explained difference to you. You noticed small things. You felt responsible for emotions that were not yours. You tried to make peace in rooms where adults had created storms. And while other people saw a quiet child, heaven saw a watchman forming in secret. You were never ordinary. Even when you tried to be, you could not fully fit into shallow places. You could not stay comfortable around cruelty. You could not pretend something was right when your spirit knew it was not. And this is why certain seasons broke your heart. Because you kept trying to belong in environments that were never built to hold your gift. The rejection was painful. But it also revealed something. Every time someone pushed you aside, your spirit became sharper. Every time someone underestimated you, your discernment became cleaner. Every time they used your kindness and walked away, heaven taught you the difference between compassion and access. You were not being wasted. You were being trained. But the training has felt confusing because nobody told you what it was. You thought you were just losing people. You thought doors were closing because you were unwanted. You thought the silence meant nothing was happening. Yet all along, God was separating the gift from the noise, because what He planted in you cannot be activated in every atmosphere. Some rooms are too small for what you carry. Some relationships are too loud for what God is growing. Some opportunities look good, but they require you to betray the very sensitivity that makes you powerful. And this is why heaven has blocked certain paths, not because you were unworthy, but because the gift inside you needed a cleaner place to awaken. Chosen one, you have been trying to explain your delay to people who only understand visible success. They ask why you have not moved faster. They wonder why you are still waiting. They see your pause and call it lack. But heaven sees your pause differently. Heaven sees a sealed vessel. Heaven sees a planted seed. Heaven sees a power that cannot be rushed into premature exposure. That is why you feel pressure right now, not punishment, pressure. A seed feels pressure before it breaks soil. A door feels pressure before it opens. A spirit feels pressure before it steps into assignment. And the pressure you feel is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that what was hidden is pushing upward. You may have noticed your tolerance changing. You cannot entertain the same conversations anymore. You cannot laugh at the same darkness anymore. You cannot keep pretending with people who only love the version of you that never confronts anything. Something in you is becoming too honest for old rooms. Something in you is becoming too clear for old masks. That change can feel lonely. It can feel like loss. It can feel like you are becoming difficult. But in truth, your gift is creating new boundaries before your mouth even explains them. Your spirit is pulling away from what keeps you dull. Your inner life is rejecting what keeps you asleep. And the discomfort you feel is often the first sign that activation has already begun. You are not here because you need another motivational speech. You have heard enough words. You are here because your spirit needs recognition. It needs someone to say what you have been afraid to say out loud. There is a power inside you that has not been fully activated yet, and your exhaustion has never been evidence that it is absent. The enemy wanted you to confuse tiredness with emptiness. He wanted you to confuse waiting with rejection. He wanted you to confuse sensitivity with weakness. Because if you ever understood that your sensitivity is part of your spiritual equipment, you would stop apologizing for the very thing that lets you see what others miss. This is why people sometimes react strangely to your presence. You may not say much, but something shifts when you enter. Certain people become uncomfortable. Certain conversations suddenly change. Certain masks become harder to keep on. That is not because you are trying to expose anyone. It is because hidden light makes hidden darkness restless. But do not become proud in the wrong way. This gift was not planted so you could feel superior. It was planted so you could serve with clarity, move with obedience, and break cycles that your family line kept repeating. The gift is not a trophy, it is an assignment. And before heaven activates it fully, heaven teaches the carrier how to remain humble under power. That is why your life has not made sense to everyone. People wanted simple answers. You carried spiritual complexity. People wanted you to choose easy paths. You kept sensing invisible warnings. People told you to move on quickly, but your spirit knew something deeper was being processed. And every time you tried to force yourself to be normal, something inside you refused. You were born with a holy refusal. A refusal to stay numb. A refusal to become cruel. A refusal to betray your discernment just to be accepted. Even when you made mistakes, even when you ignored signs, even when you gave access to people who proved they were not safe, something in you kept returning to God. That return is evidence. Now listen carefully. The gift inside you does not always announce itself as confidence. Sometimes it announces itself as restlessness. Sometimes it shows up as grief you cannot explain. Sometimes it appears as a deep frustration with shallow living. And sometimes it feels like a strange homesickness for a version of yourself you have not fully met yet. That homesickness is sacred. It is your spirit remembering what God planted. It is not nostalgia. It is not fantasy. It is not childish dreaming. It is an inner witness saying, I was made for more than survival, more than pleasing people, more than repeating old cycles, and more than shrinking so others can stay comfortable. If this is speaking to you, do not rush past it. Place your attention here. Let your heart admit what your mouth has been afraid to say. You have been carrying something that ordinary explanations cannot hold. You have tried to talk yourself out of it. You have tried to minimize it. But the pressure has returned because heaven is no longer letting you ignore it. Comment the words, I am ready, if your spirit knows this message is touching the hidden place. Not for performance, not for attention. Let it be a marker. Let it be a small agreement that you are done calling your gift a burden. Let it be your first witness that what God planted before birth still belongs to you. Because here is the truth. Your gift has been speaking through your patterns for years. It spoke through the people you could not fully trust. It spoke through the doors that looked perfect but felt wrong. It spoke through the ideas that kept returning after you tried to forget them. It spoke through the ache you carried when everyone else thought you were fine. And now, heaven is bringing the language closer. The hidden gift is not only spiritual sensitivity. It is not only intuition. It is not only creativity. It is not only discernment. It is a whole inner design, a way of perceiving, receiving, creating, and obeying that was placed in you before the world trained you to doubt it. This is where many chosen ones get stuck. They know they carry something. They feel the assignment. They sense the calling. But they do not know how to move from awareness into activation. They keep waiting for a dramatic sign, while heaven is often asking them to restore the inner frequency that lets the gift function clearly again. I want to speak with care here. Later in this message, I will share more about a restoration tool connected to this exact struggle. It is called the Genius Song. It is a 7-minute audio designed to help the mind return toward the gamma state, connected with clarity, intuition, creative flow, and original genius. I am not sharing it as a distraction from this word, but as a bridge For those who already know, their inner signal has been buried under years of noise. Stay with the message before you decide anything. The deeper truth has not been revealed yet. Because the question is not only, what gift did God plant inside you? The question is, why has it stayed dormant for so long? And what has been quietly keeping you from activating what heaven already placed within you? Chosen one. What you called delay was not rejection. What you called silence was not abandonment. What you called loneliness was not proof that heaven forgot you. There are seasons when God does not expose a gift because the atmosphere around it is not clean enough to carry it. Some things are planted early but revealed slowly. You have been asking why it took so long. You wondered why the doors seemed to open for others while you were still being held in hidden places. You watched people with less purity move faster. You watched louder voices get chosen first. And somewhere inside, you started asking if your gift was real or if you had only imagined the weight of it. But heaven is correcting that thought. Speed is not always favor. Visibility is not always approval. A platform is not always proof of readiness. Some people are exposed before they are formed, and what looks like promotion becomes pressure they cannot carry. God did not delay you to punish you. He delayed you to protect what He planted. Your gift was not lost, it was guarded. That is the reframe your spirit needs right now. The silence was not emptiness, it was covering. The isolation was not rejection, it was separation. The waiting was not wasted time. It was the hidden room where God kept your gift away from hands that would have used it, mocked it, or corrupted it. Think of David. He was anointed while he was still unseen. Oil touched his head long before a crown touched his life. He returned to the field after the prophet left. He still carried food. He still watched sheep. He still looked ordinary to people who had no idea heaven had already marked him. The gift was real before the throne appeared. That is your story too. Something can be real before it is recognized. Something can be anointed before it is applauded. Something can be chosen before it is invited. Do not measure what God planted in you by who has clapped for it. Heaven does not wait for human agreement before it places treasure inside a hidden vessel. Joseph saw the dream before he saw the palace. He carried a picture of greatness before his life looked great. But the dream did not send him straight into comfort. It sent him through betrayal, accusation, waiting, and rooms where nobody understood him. Yet every painful room trained him to hold the gift without becoming bitter. Chosen one, your betrayal was not the end of your gift. Your betrayal trained your discernment. Your disappointment did not bury the gift. It purified your motives. The people who left did not steal what God planted. They exposed where you had been giving sacred access to unsacred hands. That pain was not good, but God used it for separation. Some connections are too noisy for activation. Some rooms celebrate your kindness but punish your clarity. Some people enjoy your presence only when you are confused enough to be controlled. When your gift starts waking up, it threatens every system that benefited from your sleep. That is why separation often arrives before acceleration. Moses was hidden before he was sent. He had to leave the palace. He had to live in the wilderness. He had to lose the version of himself that relied on human position. And when God finally called him, the assignment did not come from a crowd, a title, or a human invitation. It came from fire in a lonely place. Do you see the pattern? The field before the throne, the pit before the palace, the wilderness before the assignment. Heaven hides what matters before heaven reveals it. Not because the gift is weak, but because the carrier must be formed in places where applause cannot confuse obedience. You were not buried. You were being formed. You are not behind. You are being aligned. You are not late. You are being refined. You are not invisible. You are being covered until the right door, the right season, and the right inner posture meet together. Premature exposure can damage a sacred thing. So God often wraps a gift in obscurity until the carrier can steward it without fear. And this is where many chosen ones misunderstand the season. They think activation will feel like constant excitement, but often activation begins as discomfort with what used to satisfy you. It begins as holy frustration. It begins as a refusal to keep lowering your frequency, so people who fear your clarity can stay comfortable around you. Now let me reframe your pain even deeper. The exhaustion you felt was not always weakness. Sometimes it was your spirit carrying too much contradiction. You were trying to live small while something large was growing inside you. You were trying to stay agreeable while discernment was rising. You were trying to keep peace with people your spirit had already outgrown. That kind of inner conflict drains the body. It makes your thoughts heavy. It makes prayer feel cloudy. It makes simple decisions feel harder than they should. And when you live too long outside the frequency of who God made you to be, even your own mind can begin to feel distant from its original clarity. What heaven calls a gift, the mind often experiences as perception, sensitivity, pattern recognition, intuition, and creative flow. When years of stress, fear, disappointment, and noise press down on that inner design, the signal becomes harder to hear. This is why restoration is not only emotional, it is spiritual, mental, and energetic. That is why the earlier mention of gamma matters, not as a replacement for God, never that, but as one language for how your original clarity can become buried under survival. The Genius song is connected to that restoration path because it points toward the inner state where intuition, focus, and creative flow begin to operate with less resistance. If this is touching you, breathe. You do not need to fight the reframe. Let it land. You were not rejected by your gift. You were not abandoned by your calling. You were not forgotten in the waiting room. The thing inside you has been guarded by a God who sees what happens when power is released before character is ready. And that means the delay had meaning. The silence had purpose. The separation had intelligence. Even the strange seasons where nothing seemed to move were not empty. Roots move before branches. Oil fills before lamps burn. A hidden womb expands before birth arrives. And you have been in a hidden place that heaven never confused with failure. Like this message if your spirit recognizes the reframe. Not because a button has power by itself, but because agreement matters. Share it with another chosen one who has been calling their hidden season a punishment. Someone else needs to know that the delay was not denial, and the silence was not God changing his mind. But stay with me now, because the next truth may shake you. There is a specific reason the gift stayed dormant, and it is not only because the enemy attacked you. It is not only because people misunderstood you. The hidden blocker goes deeper, and once you see it clearly, you will understand why heaven had to bring this message to you now. Chosen one, now we have reached the truth that many people avoid. Your gift did not fail. Your calling did not expire. Heaven did not remove what it planted inside you. The deeper issue is that your inner life learned to operate from protection instead of power, and that protection slowly became a lock. At first, the lock looked like wisdom. You stopped trusting quickly. You stopped speaking everything you sensed. You stopped showing your full heart to people who handled it carelessly. That was understandable. But after a while, the same wall that protected you from danger also began to block the gift from flowing clearly. This is the hidden blocker. You did not only survive pain, you adapted to it. You learned how to shrink before rejection arrived. You learned how to soften your truth so people would not leave. You learned how to question your own discernment because others called it too much. And without noticing, you made agreement with a smaller version of yourself. Do not hear shame in this. Hear revelation. You did what you had to do to survive. You became quiet because noise punished your honesty. You became careful because access was abused. You became guarded because the wrong people touched sacred places in you. But survival is not the same as activation, and heaven is calling you beyond survival now. Your gift has been waiting behind a door you helped close, not because you are guilty, not because you are bad, not because you failed God. You closed that door in fear, exhaustion, and disappointment. You closed it when you decided it was safer to be accepted than to be fully seen. This is why you can feel powerful and powerless in the same day. One moment, your spirit knows. The next moment, your mind doubts everything. One moment, you sense the next step. The next moment, fear talks you out of obedience. The gift is not absent. It is moving through a system that learned to expect attack. That is why clarity comes in flashes. You receive a strong idea, then bury it. You sense a warning, then explain it away. You feel a door opening, then convince yourself you are not ready. You pray for direction, then reject the first instruction because it asks you to become visible. This pattern has kept many chosen ones circling the same mountain. The enemy did not need to destroy your gift. He only needed to make you afraid of it. He only needed to connect visibility with danger, obedience with loss, and power with rejection. If he could make you believe that being seen would cost you love, then you would hide the very thing heaven sent you to release. That is why the attack on your life was so personal. It was not random. It targeted your voice. It targeted your confidence. It targeted your ability to trust what God was showing you. It targeted the place where your gift meets action. Because a gift that is only felt but never obeyed remains buried under good intentions. You have had moments when you knew exactly what to do. Then you froze. You knew who to release. Then you gave them another chance. You knew which door was not yours. Then you tried to force it anyway. You knew which idea kept returning from God. Then you called it unrealistic and moved it to the back of your mind. Chosen one, that is not confusion. That is conflict. Your spirit is remembering what God planted, while your nervous system is remembering what hurt you. Your calling says move. Your fear says wait. Your discernment says speak. Your wound says stay silent. Your gift says rise. Your history says hide. This is the war beneath the war. It is not only outside you. It is not only people. It is not only delay. It is the battle between the identity heaven gave you and the identity pain trained you to accept. And until that agreement is broken, you will keep calling divine pressure anxiety, and you will keep calling holy instruction overthinking. David faced this. Before he stood before Goliath, he had to refuse armor that was not made for him. Saul gave him a system that looked responsible. It looked protective. It looked approved. But David could not move in it. The armor was not evil. It was just not his. And if he had worn it, the gift would have been buried under someone else's style of safety. That is what you have been doing. You have been trying to wear armor that does not belong to your assignment. You tried to think like people who do not carry your burden. You tried to move at the pace of people who never had your sensitivity. You tried to explain your gift using language from rooms that never understood spiritual weight. No wonder you felt heavy. No wonder you felt slow. No wonder you felt disconnected from yourself. It is exhausting to carry a divine design while wearing a false identity for protection. It is exhausting to know deep truth and keep pretending shallow answers satisfy you. Your soul was never built to live under borrowed armor. This is the climax of the message. God did not plant a gift in you so you could spend your life asking permission to carry it. He did not place discernment inside you so you could silence it for people who prefer darkness. He did not give you holy sensitivity so you could apologize every time your spirit detects what others want hidden. You must hear this with your whole heart. The gift will not fully activate while you keep negotiating with the fear of being misunderstood. It will not flow clearly while you keep asking unsafe people to confirm what God already spoke. It will not rise fully while your deepest agreement is still, I am safer when I am smaller. That agreement must break. Not tomorrow, not when everyone approves, not when the perfect moment appears. It must break in the hidden place first. It must break when nobody claps. It must break when your voice shakes. It must break when you choose obedience before confidence arrives, because confidence often follows movement. You were not waiting for God to give you a gift. The gift was already there. You were waiting for your inner agreement to change. You were waiting for the moment when your spirit would stop asking pain for permission. You were waiting for the day you would finally admit that staying small has become more painful than being seen. And that day is closer than you think. The pressure you feel is not trying to crush you, it is trying to wake you. The frustration you feel is not proof that you are ungrateful. It is proof that your old life has become too tight for your assignment. Something inside you is pressing against the ceiling of who you used to be. This is why old distractions are losing power. They once helped you avoid the ache. Now they feel empty. Old conversations feel thin. Old habits feel dull. Old connections feel like they are pulling at a version of you that heaven has already called dead. You are not losing interest in life. You are losing tolerance for anything that keeps the gift asleep. That can feel terrifying, because when the gift wakes, it changes your choices. It changes your relationships. It changes your appetite. It changes your tolerance for false peace. It changes the way you pray, the way you speak, the way you spend time, and the way you let people touch your future. Activation is beautiful, but it is not casual. This is why God had to train you in silence. If the gift had activated while you still needed constant approval, people would have controlled it. If it had activated while you still confused access with love, you would have handed it to anyone who gave you attention. If it had activated before discernment matured, you might have mistaken counterfeit doors for divine doors. So heaven waited. Heaven covered you. Heaven let certain things close. Heaven let certain people misunderstand you, not because the pain was holy by itself, but because God was using even the pain to teach you what cannot go with you. Some losses were not punishments, they were locks being removed from your future. Now the question changes. The question is no longer, do I have a gift? Yes, you do. The question is no longer, did God forget me? No, He did not. The question is this: are you willing to stop protecting the version of you that pain created, so the version God planted can finally rise? That is the question your spirit has been avoiding. Because the gift is not only an ability, it is a responsibility. It will require honesty. It will require separation. It will require obedience when your emotions still want comfort. It will require you to stop calling every closed door rejection and start recognizing some closed doors as protection. You cannot carry this gift and keep betraying your discernment. You cannot carry this gift and keep entertaining people who make you doubt your God-given clarity. You cannot carry this gift and keep feeding your mind with noise that dulls your inner signal. The gift needs a cleaner atmosphere. It needs agreement. It needs stewardship. This is where the inner frequency matters. A spirit can receive from God, but a mind buried under constant noise can struggle to translate what the spirit is sensing. A heart can know the truth, but fear can scramble the signal before obedience happens. This is why many chosen ones feel an instruction clearly, then lose it in overthinking. Your gift needs clarity to move. It needs stillness to speak. It needs courage to obey. It needs a body that is not constantly bracing for the next betrayal. It needs a mind that is not trapped in survival loops. You are not only being called to believe in the gift, you are being called to restore the condition where the gift can function. That is why simple inspiration has not been enough. You have heard powerful messages before. You cried. You agreed. You felt lifted for a moment. Then the old fog returned, not because the word was false, but because revelation must become rhythm. A door can be shown to you, but you still need the inner strength to walk through it. This is the false summit. Many people think recognition is activation. They hear that they are chosen, and they feel complete. But recognition is only the beginning. You can know you are chosen and still hide. You can know you carry power and still delay. You can know God planted something in you and still refuse the environment required to release it. The true reveal is this: Your gift is not waiting for more proof. It is waiting for a new agreement. It is waiting for you to stop calling your obedience dangerous. It is waiting for you to stop letting fear interpret God. It is waiting for you to stop treating your own clarity like an enemy just because it demands change. Chosen one, you have been asking God to activate what He already planted, while God has been asking you to surrender the identity that keeps it dormant. That is the exchange. The small self for the sealed self. The wounded agreement for the holy agreement. The fear of being seen for the responsibility of carrying light. Let this land deeply. The gift has not been silent because it is weak. It has been silent because your life has been too noisy. It has been guarded because your access has been too open. It has been delayed because your agreement has been divided. But now heaven is bringing everything into one point of decision. You cannot unknow this. You cannot go back to calling it nothing. You cannot keep pretending the pressure is random. You cannot keep explaining away the signs, the dreams, the confirmations, the strange timing, the holy frustration, and the deep ache that says your current life is too small for what God placed inside you. This is not the moment to panic. This is the moment to breathe. Take back your agreement. Take back your attention. Take back your inner yes from every fear that trained you to hide. The gift was planted before birth, but activation requires present agreement. Heaven placed it there. Now your spirit must say yes to carrying it. And once you understand what locked it, the next question becomes unavoidable. How do you restore the signal? How do you return to the inner state where clarity, discernment, intuition, and creative flow begin to move without so much resistance? Stay with me, because heaven does not only reveal a gift, heaven also provides a way to steward it. Chosen one, now the truth is clear. The gift was not gone. The signal was buried. The power was not removed. It was covered by fear, noise, pressure, and years of living in survival mode. God planted it before birth, but your inner world must become clear enough to carry what heaven placed inside you. This is why awareness alone has not been enough. You have heard messages that touched your spirit. You have cried, you have prayed, you have felt hope return for a moment. But then the fog came back, the old thoughts returned, and the same heaviness tried to convince you that nothing really changed. That does not mean the word was false. It means revelation needs restoration. A gift needs an atmosphere. A seed needs soil. A lamp needs oil. A voice needs breath. And your gift needs an inner state where clarity, intuition, and holy focus can move without being strangled by constant mental noise. You are not only being called to believe again, you are being called to return to the condition where what God planted can actually function. This is where I want to speak carefully. There is a tool I mentioned earlier, and now you understand why it matters. It is called the Genius Song. It is a 7-minute digital audio track designed to be heard through headphones, and its purpose is to help the mind move toward the gamma state, connected with clarity, intuition, creative flow, and original genius. Do not hear this as a replacement for God. It is not. Prayer still matters. Obedience still matters. Character still matters. But there are moments when heaven allows a practical tool to meet a spiritual need. And for many chosen ones, the need is not more pressure. The need is a cleaner inner signal. Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscientist with 34 years of experience, developed this audio around brain entrainment. Research around gamma has been explored by places like Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Princeton, Harvard, and other respected research circles. The point is not to drown you in names. The point is simple. Your clarity is not random. Your inner frequency matters. When your mind is buried under stress, fear, and constant noise, your gift can feel distant. You may still be chosen, but the signal feels crowded. You may still carry discernment, but overthinking interrupts it. You may still have creative flow, but exhaustion keeps blocking the doorway. That is why restoring the inner state matters so deeply. The genius song does not claim to create what God never placed in you. That is not the framing. It is better understood as a restoration tool for people who already sense that something inside them was once clearer, brighter, faster, and more alive. It points toward the gamma state many chosen ones seem to carry naturally before life trained them into survival. Think back to the child you were. You learned quickly, you sensed deeply. You saw patterns others missed. You believed things could open. Then the world became heavy, and that original clarity began to fade. The product speaks directly to that gap. The distance between the person God planted and the person pressure trained you to become. There is a woman in her 40s, a teacher from Texas, who described her mind as if it had been running at only a fraction of its real strength. For years, she helped students grow while feeling stuck inside her own life. After several weeks with the Genius Song, she said ideas began returning naturally, and one decision she had delayed for a long time became clear in a single morning. That story matters because it is not flashy. It is not noise. It is not empty hype. It is the kind of shift many hidden carriers need. Clarity returning, decisions becoming lighter, a mind that once felt dull beginning to feel available again. That is the kind of restoration that can help a gift move from pressure into action. Another person almost gave up too early. She used it for days without a dramatic feeling. Then later, she noticed she was sleeping deeper, choosing faster, and no longer feeling frozen in the same old loop. That matters because some restoration arrives quietly. Not every activation looks like lightning. Sometimes it looks like waking up and realizing your life has started moving again. Over 18,366 people have used the Genius Song. But the stronger signal is not only the number of users, it is that fewer than 4% asked for their money back, which means most people continued with it beyond the guarantee window. That kind of response matters because it shows more than curiosity. It shows trust after use. Now, let us speak plainly about value, but without turning this into a cheap sales moment. Many people pay about $15 every month for a meditation app. Others pay $100 to $200 for an online growth course. A single therapy session can be around $150, and a weekend spiritual retreat can reach $400 to $800. Those things may help some people, but most of them do not directly focus on gamma. Most of them require more time, more scheduling, more effort, or repeated payments. The Genius Song is different in structure. It is 7 minutes. It is digital. It is heard through headphones. It does not require you to become a perfect meditator before you receive support. The original price is $49. But for the people coming through this message, it is $39 one time. No monthly payment, no shipping fee, no waiting for a package. It is delivered digitally, and the reason that matters is simple. When your spirit recognizes a doorway, you should not have to wait weeks just to begin walking toward it. There are also 4 bonuses included. Genius Child, valued at $19, is a gentle audio created for children. The classic book, valued at $20, points back to deeper principles behind wealth and thought. Guided visualization, valued at $29, walks you through important areas of life. The 5-habit infographic, valued at $12, helps you keep the practice grounded. Together, the bonuses are valued at $80. That is more than the price of the main audio itself. And you still receive the core technology created from Dr. Lake years of work, the 7-minute track, the full digital access, and the protection of a guarantee. The structure is simple. $39 for the audio, plus $80 in included bonuses. And the guarantee matters. You have 90 days to try it. If it does not feel right for you, you can request a full refund. No complicated condition, no need to return a digital file. And even if you ask for the refund, you keep all 4 bonuses because your time and attention are still respected. That removes the pressure. Please hear the warning too. There are copies, lookalikes, and fake versions using the name. Some are only ordinary sounds with no real brain entrainment structure behind them. Do not search for it on Amazon. Do not search for it on Spotify. Do not search for random versions on YouTube. The original version, the full bonuses, and the guarantee are only through the link in the description and the pinned comment. This is not about fear. It is about protection. Chosen one. When something is created for restoration, counterfeit versions always appear around it. The same way false voices gather around real prophecy. False products gather around real tools. I am telling you plainly, so you do not hand your trust to a copy that cannot carry the original design. Now pause for a moment. Do not rush. Put your hand over your heart if you can. Take one slow breath. Let the noise settle. This decision is not only about $39. It is about whether you are ready to support the version of you that God planted before the world taught you to shrink. Ask your spirit this simple question. Am I willing to stop living as if my gift is only a memory? If the answer inside you is yes, then you already know where the doorway is. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Follow it only if your spirit feels aligned, and do not let fear make the decision for you. Because this is the restoration pattern. First, heaven names the gift. Then heaven exposes the blocker. Then heaven gives you a way to steward what has been revealed. The genius song is not the gift itself. The gift is what God placed inside you, but it can be a tool that helps quiet the noise around that gift. And once the noise begins to settle, you may notice something returning. A cleaner thought, a stronger yes, a clearer no, a sudden idea that does not feel forced, a sense of timing that feels peaceful, a willingness to obey without needing everyone to understand. These are not small things. For a chosen one, clarity can change the entire direction of a life. Do not leave after seeing the doorway. The tool can support the signal, but the seal still matters. The next part is where you place agreement around what God planted. This is where your mouth, your spirit, and your attention line up together. Stay with me, because heaven is not only showing you what was hidden, heaven is calling you to declare that it is waking up now. Chosen one, do not rush this moment. The doorway has been shown, but now your spirit needs a seal, not a performance, not a public display. A seal is an agreement between what heaven revealed and what your heart is finally willing to carry. Stop treating your gift like a question. Place your attention on your chest. Breathe slowly. Let the old noise fall behind you. You have spent years trying to understand why you felt different, why your path moved strangely, why your spirit could not settle in places that looked normal to everyone else. Now you know. You were carrying something planted before birth. Say this in your heart before you say anything with your mouth. I am not empty. I am not late. I am not forgotten. What God placed inside me is still alive. It may have been hidden. It may have been quiet. It may have been guarded through pain, but it was never removed from me. This is the holy correction. You are not trying to become someone else. You are returning to what was planted before the world wounded you. You are not chasing power from outside yourself. You are agreeing with the gift heaven placed within you. You are not begging for identity. You are receiving the identity that fear tried to bury. Now release the old agreement. Release the belief that you are safer when you are smaller. Release the fear that being seen will always bring rejection. Release the habit of asking broken people to confirm holy things. Release the need to explain your calling to people who only understand comfort, control, and visible proof. You do not owe your gift to everyone. You do not owe access to every person who notices your light. You do not owe your clarity to people who only come close when they need your energy. This gift belongs to God first, and because it belongs to God, it must be stewarded with wisdom. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to become quieter around noise. You are allowed to stop answering every pull on your spirit. You are allowed to protect the gift without feeling guilty. And as you protect it, you will begin to notice that your inner signal becomes cleaner, stronger, and more peaceful. This is the part where your mouth must come into agreement. Words matter, not because they are magic. They matter because agreement creates direction. For too long, your inner words have been shaped by exhaustion, fear, delay, and disappointment. Now your words must be shaped by truth. Repeat this slowly in your heart. I receive what God planted in me before birth. I reject the false identity of delay. I release the fear of being seen. I call my discernment clean. I call my spirit awake. I call my mind restored. I call my gift protected, activated, and surrendered to God. Let that settle. Do not rush it. A seed does not become visible because it panics. It rises because life inside it responds to the right season. Your gift is responding now. It is not responding to pressure from people. It is responding to heaven, clarity, obedience, and your willingness to stop hiding from yourself. From this moment, watch what begins to change. You may notice old desires losing strength. You may notice certain conversations becoming too heavy to continue. You may notice a stronger no in your spirit and a quieter yes around the things God actually assigned to you. Do not fear that shift. That is alignment returning. And when clarity comes, do not argue with it. If God says release, release. If God says wait, wait. If God says move, move. If God says be silent, be silent. The activated gift is not reckless. It does not chase attention. It listens, discerns, obeys, and allows God to open the correct door. This is how you will know the gift is waking. You will stop needing chaos to feel alive. You will stop confusing anxiety with urgency. You will stop mistaking access for love. You will stop handing sacred thoughts to people who cannot hold them. And you will begin to feel peace around decisions that once terrified you. The enemy will still try to test the seal. Expect that. He may send old voices, old temptations, old doubts, and old patterns. He may whisper that nothing changed. He may remind you of who you used to be, but you must answer with truth. I am not who fear trained me to be. I am who God planted me to become. Do not wait for everyone to notice before you believe. Hidden things are often real before they are visible. Roots work underground. Oil gathers quietly. Light begins before the room understands it. Your gift may begin with small changes, but small obedience can open massive doors when heaven is behind it. This is why the comment matters. Not as a game, not as noise, not as empty engagement. Write the words, I activate what God planted in me. Let it be a witness. Let it be your public agreement that you are done calling your gift a burden, done calling your delay a denial, and done calling your sensitivity weakness. If this message found you at the right time, subscribe and stay close. Not for entertainment. Stay close, because your spirit is learning a new language. There will be more messages for the season ahead, and you need reminders that keep your attention clean while your gift continues to wake. Share this with one person who has been hiding their own light. You know who they are. The person who feels tired but carries depth. The person who keeps apologizing for discernment. The person who thinks their gift disappeared because life became heavy. Send it to them as a sign that heaven still remembers what it planted. For those whose spirit already recognized the restoration tool, the link remains in the description and the pinned comment. Follow only if you feel aligned. The tool is not the gift. God planted the gift. But if you know your inner signal needs support, the doorway is still there. Now receive this blessing. May your mind become clear. May your spirit become steady. May your discernment become clean. May every counterfeit voice lose authority over you. May every false agreement break. May every fear of being seen bow before the truth that God did not plant a gift in you by mistake. May the rooms that drained you release you. May the delays that protected you now become doors that open at the correct time. May your dreams become cleaner. May your sleep become deeper. May your decisions become lighter, because confusion no longer has permission to rule you. May God restore the childlike clarity that once moved through you before disappointment taught you to doubt it. May the creativity return. May the holy ideas return. May the quiet confidence return. May the joy of obedience return. And may you never again mistake temporary hiddenness for permanent rejection. You are carrying a gift. You are carrying a signal. You are carrying a responsibility. You are carrying a light that darkness recognized before you did. But now, you are recognizing it too. That changes everything. Because a chosen one who knows what they carry cannot be controlled the same way anymore. This is your closing declaration. What was dormant is waking. What was hidden is being revealed. What was delayed is being aligned. What was mocked is being honored. What was buried is rising. What God planted before birth is still alive. And from this moment forward, you will not abandon it again. Amen.